Hello all and welcome to Wow Crochet Designs. My name is Mary and in today's tutorial we are working on part 4, the final part of our Easter apron. And you can't really see it very well here, so let's do this. Gorgeous, is it not? Now today you'll be creating the rest of the border round for your apron, both your straps at the back and of course your strap around the neck. Then you'll be placing these 4 pockets, okay? You will need between 10 and 15 grams of yarn for each colour, except the yellow you will actually need around 20 to 25 grams because you have 2 pockets there. And depending on how many rows you do, I asked you to do a certain amount of rows. If you wanted to do more, just add 2 rows extra. Must be 2 rows so that the last row can land on the right side of your work. All right, so that's it. I'm not going to talk anymore. You will need your 4mm hook, your 4.5mm hook, scissors, sewing needle or darning needle, your stitch markers, and you may need pins to pin your pockets to your apron before sewing them on. All right, so a very special thank you once again to the lovely Fluffy Kitten for her colour combination in this year's Easter project for Wow Crochet Designs and this gorgeous apron. I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I'm going to let you head off to complete part 4, the final part of our gorgeous apron. Good luck all. Alrighty guys, so where I left you off in part 3, I asked you to complete that single crochet chain 1 round in your cream. Now we are going to slip stitch into the stitch, the tight stitch there, making sure you've done your last single crochet chain 1, skipping that last pink stitch and slip stitching into the first single crochet, which is very, very tight for me. So slip stitch into that stitch there like so. And now the actual pattern is going to change. We're going to chain 1, tighten that stitch, and in the same stitch do a single crochet, just 1, all in the same stitch. Place your stitch marker here just so you know the beginning of the round. And in the stitch with our stitch marker we are popping 3 double crochets, 1 and 2, remove that stitch marker, pop your stitch marker in the corner, and we need a 3rd double crochet in there. In that next single crochet you're popping a single crochet, and in the space, the chain 1 space, you're popping a double crochet. All right, in the next single crochet you're popping a single crochet, the next chain 1 space, double crochet, next single, single, next space, double. See the pattern? Single on a single and double in the space, the chain 1 space. Whoops, the chain 1 space. All right, and it'll give a gentle, slight gentle wave, not a big wave, a very slight one. Okay, single into your single crochet, double crochet in the chain 1 space, single, double, and single and double. All right, I'm not going to let you sit here watch me do this. All right, so see how cute that stitch looks? It's not a complete jagged edge look, but a gentle one. All right, so very simple job. Single, let's bring that out. Hello, single, double, all the way up until you get to your last chain space right there. And that will be your single crochet. But at least maybe get to the very last or second last single crochet, if you will. All right, so just get around there, meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of our row. Is it looking gorgeous? I'm loving the look. So what we have here, I have a single crochet to do right there on that single crochet. Then we need to do a double crochet in the chain space before the corner section. And then we come to that single crochet before the corner. We're placing a single crochet in that stitch right there. And in the stitch with our stitch marker, we are popping 3 double crochets, like we do with the singles, except now they're going to be doubles. So let's remove this stitch marker and place 3 double crochets. Just do 2 for now, 1 and 2. Because we need to pop a stitch marker in there, and I've got another one that's so much easier to work with. I've been struggling with that other one. But there you go, that's much easier. And we need a 3rd double crochet in there. And in the next stitch, which is a single crochet, we're popping our single crochet. Then we've got our chain space. We're going back to our pattern of double crochet in the space, single in your single crochet, double in the space, single in your single crochet. All right, super easy row. And this is a very short row. So what I might do is pop this on fast and get to the stitch marker right here, or a couple of stitches before it, and wait for me there, and we'll continue our corner. All right, so head off on your own doing your double crochet in the space and single crochet into your single. I'm going to pop this on fast and off we go. And we are very close here. I have a chain 1 space there, so I'm placing my double crochet in the chain 1 space. And then there's a single crochet before the corner. We're all doing a single crochet in that stitch. And in the corner stitch, we are doing 3 double crochets, placing a stitch marker in the second one. All right, so let's do that now. 1, 2, stitch marker into the second stitch, right there, and 3. And then in the first single crochet, it's a single crochet. Back to our pattern of double, single in the single, double in the chain 1 space, single into your single, and so on, all the way across. Now, instructions. All right, firstly, have a look at it. Is it not gorgeous? I love that stitch. And it's actually stretched out the pattern a little bit so it's not so tight. How gorgeous is that? All right, so now your job, easy, is to do a double, single all the way across. Get to the corner, put a single crochet in the last single, 3 double crochets in the corner, pop your stitch marker into your second double crochet. Then turn your work, place a single crochet in the first single crochet, and then double, single all the way across. Do the same for this corner, and then get to the very next corner, do the same for that one, and then get to the end of the round and meet me there. All right, if you're not sure what to do, just go back to this corner, the last one we just did, repeat the corner, and then just continue along with your pattern. A double always goes into the chain space, and a single always goes on top of a single. All right, go ahead and do that now. Meet me back here once you're done, and get ready for our straps. Alrighty guys, so I asked you to get to the end of this round. Get excited guys, because this was the final round of the border. Gorgeous. But we're not casting off, because we're going to be doing our straps for our apron, and this is going to be your first strap. But before we do, let's finish off this round. I've got a single crochet, double in the chain. I've got another single crochet here, which I need to put a single crochet in. And then there's a chain space before your single crochet that you're slip stitching into. So you need to place your double crochet in that chain space like so. Now you're going to slip stitch into your first stitch that you created, yeah? So remove that stitch marker because I can't get into there with the stitch marker there, it's too tight. So I'm going to slip stitch into that first stitch right there. Now the next thing we do is we slip stitch into the very next stitch like so. From here, now to be fair, I was going to use the dark pink and the light pink to make the straps, but it kind of didn't look good with the cream in the break, like in between, yeah? If you want to use the light pink, dark pink, or any other colour to make your straps, by all means. If that's the case, just pull the thread through this stitch here, the stitch before your stitch marker, and start making your chains. Now the chains you need for your size are extra small to medium, you need 80 chains. Large to 2 extra large, you need 90 chains, and 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you need 100 chains. All right, so let's do that now when you're chaining 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so what I want you to do, I'm going to let you head off on your own and do this. Chain the amount of chains you need for your size. And again, extra small to medium, you need 80 chains. Large to 2 extra large, you need 90 chains. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you need 100 chains. Meet me back here once you're done and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. All right, asked you to get to the end of your chains or whatever that chain amount may be for your size. Now, if you're one chain short, one chain extra, it doesn't matter. Such a minor change, yeah? We're going to start single crochets. Now, the idea of putting your single crochets is just doing it in every loop all the way across. But yours truly, once again, is going to turn my work and pop my single crochets in the back bump. Not necessary, okay? I'll show you again. Not necessary. You can pop it in the top loop. I'm just going to do a single crochet. You don't need a stitch marker here. Go into that next back bump right there. Pop your hook in, pull a loop through, 2 loops, and pull through. You know that part, yeah? Just find that back bump, doing your single crochets all the way across. So it's a very simple process. It's just, it's quite a few chains, so it's going to take you a little while. So what I'm going to do is let you head off on your own once again and do your single crochets all the way across. Get to, I don't know, the last 1 or 2 stitches here. Meet me there once you're done and get ready to finalize your first strap. Alrighty guys, once you've done all your single crochets all the way across, so the next task is, I still have more single crochets to go, and the reason I didn't do it is because they were quite tiny here and I wanted you to see them. That's the second last stitch. Now if you look carefully, there is one last stitch. If you're going into the loops, just go into the normal loops, but I'm doing back bump, so it will be right there, finishing off the single crochet. That's your final single crochet. What you want to do is jump into the stitch with your stitch marker, remove it. You won't need it there anymore. Pull a loop through, pull it through to the loop on your hook. Now normally we would pull up a loop and do that. We're not going to do that to finish off. I want you to just pull this up fairly tight. So you give it a cut, pull that loop through, grab your sewing needle. Now this is any sewing needle that you have in stock. Make sure you can thread it easily. Don't split it like I just did. Look at that. Don't she's so naughty, isn't she? Let's try that again. Make sure you can, she's telling lies, guys, thread it easily. Like that. She's so silly. All right. Now, remember how, let me move everything out the way so you can really see this. We didn't close it up, okay? So what I want you to do is go back into the stitch that you had your stitch marker in, pull that loop through like so. And all that's done is it's tightened up the area for you without giving you the big bulky knot on top. Then you turn it over like so, and you are going to find a place to weave in, let's get it closer, to weave in your thread. So just split a thread at the back. Any thread you see, pop your tail through there. Gorgeous, yep. And then you're going to do exactly that. Find some threads. And I would suggest going through the top part of your stitch. I'll move in, sorry. Top part of your stitch, make sure you can't see the needle from the front. And if you find that really awkward, another thing you can do simply is this. You go down the stitch, going through a little bit of thread, splitting the thread. Notice how I'm just split it like that, very gently. Don't pull it too tight. You don't want to be tugging at the stitch, yeah? And then, see all this here? Go in and out of some of the threading. That will already be thick if you've done some weaving in from your previous threads, yeah? But I would still do it. I would go in through the thickness, make sure you can't see the needle, and I can. Notice that? I saw the needle right there. It doesn't matter because it's all cream, but I'm taking mine out. I'm very fussy. That's nice and thick. That is never coming undone. Okay. Once again, if it does come undone, you have plenty of thread that you can actually, don't forget to cut your thread, that you can actually reattach a new strap to. But look at that. That is never coming undone. Yeah. All right. Strap number 1 done. Strap number 2. That's the front of our work. Remember our stitch marker. Our strap is on the front of your work. You're going to turn your work to the opposite side. Oh, that's the strap now. Yeah, that's now the wrong side. That's the right side. Yeah. We want to go over here, right to the opposite side. Gorgeous. Pop your hook in your stitch with your stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker. Now, the reason we've got it in the corner and not in the stitch below is because when we chain up and then we single crochet back, we will slip stitch into the stitch below. But if we were to do it this way and then single crochet down this way, it'll kind of be upside down. So don't worry about it. We're just starting in the corner for now. It was an easy fix. Just start in the corner. Grab your thread, whichever thread you were using, whatever color you used for the opposite side, pop it on your hook, pull the loop through. I am rushing this because we've done it before, but except now we just got to add the thread. So pass your tail forward to lock it into place. We're going to chain one, but this chain is not going to be a stitch to slip stitch in. This is going to be one that just tightens up your work so this little loop doesn't come undone. All right. So now you're going to chain 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and so on. All right. So your job now is to chain your chains all the way up to whatever your chains were, whether that was extra small to medium, 80 chains, large to 2 extra large, 90, and 3 extra large to 5 extra large, 100, or whatever chains you decided to go with for the opposite side. Do the same for this side. Go ahead and do that now. Meet me back here once you're done and get ready to finalize strap number 2. Alrighty guys, now that you have the same amount of stitches that you need for your strap as we've done on the other side, okay? So now what you want to do, once again, you can single crochet in the top loop, or you can turn your work and work in those back bumps like that. Single crochet, simple, simple. You did it before. The only time it would be difficult is if you did these chains too tight, but otherwise, simple, simple, yeah? I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do this whole piece all the way across. It's going to take forever. So what I want you to do, oh, we're not even in frame. I want you to do your single crochets into every stitch all the way across, and I'll meet you there once you're done. Alrighty guys, so here we are at the end of this row. Now you will find that you will have one more chain right there. Pop your hook in that chain. And if your chain has come loose here, all I want you to do is grab that tail at the back and tighten it real tight. Yeah. Then what I want you to do, you're in that corner stitch right there already. I want you to jump into the very next stitch. It'll look smaller because we've been pulling at it, yeah? So pull through that stitch, pull it through to the loop on your hook. Once again, do not pull a loop through, just pull it up like so. Make sure everything is correct. Cut your work. Once again, you're going to grab your sewing needle, if I can get this out. Yes, gorgeous. And instead of sewing in through the corner stitch, you're going to sew into the stitch that you're in right there. So it's sitting up the top, going back into the stitch that you're already in, pull that loop through, and we're done with this strap as well. Turn it over. I would take this tail and weave it in through that way, and then take your beginning tail and weave it in through the opposite direction, which I'm not going to do with you. I actually can do it the other way. The beginning tail can go there, and this tail can go here because it's sticking out through here. So once you've pulled it through, just grab a little bit of thread, just a tiny little bit. I'm rushing because I want you to continue finishing off the apron because we are at the end of our apron. Just give that a tug so the tail hides in. And this one here, I'm not going to let you sit here and watch me do it. Weave that end in across the base if you want. Go right down to the base and then just weave it across there, wherever you want to. Again, I do not want to waste your time. If I can get this camera to work. Gorgeous. No, it doesn't want to work. Here we go. I don't want to waste your time. I want to get on with the next step. So there's our two straps done right there. Gorgeous. And now turn your apron. We're still working on the front of our apron. Yeah, bring your piece all the way down. Get to the top. Here we are up the top here. Now we're still on the right side, aren't we? Yes. So what I want you to do now, and this is the interesting part, I want you to work on this pink stitch marker, the stitch before it, right? But what I want you to do is flip your work for a minute. This is just for the chains now. This is the wrong side of your piece. All right, so we're going to start our chains from, that's the stitch we're not starting from, that's our stitch marker stitch. We're going to start it from the stitch just before it. Grab your loop, pull it through like so, passing your tail forward just so we can lock it into place with a chain. Might give myself a little bit longer for weaving in later, yeah. Chain 1. All right, now what I want you to do, this is your tight chain, so you're not going to crochet into that. Tighten it up really well, yeah? You're now going to chain all the way up. You're going to go to this side and slip stitch into the stitch before your stitch marker, right? And then we're going to move over to that stitch and do single crochets on top of our chains, yeah? Very simple thing. Now, the deal here is to do one or two things. You can follow the size that I give you, which I'll give you in a minute, or if you want to adjust your piece, my suggestion would be to play with your straps. Just place your strap there and go on to that there, just your plain strap, and just pop it over your neck and see if that's the amount of stitches you will use for yours. But I will give you the stitch amount that is appropriate for your size. It's only if you want to change the length of your apron. If it's not as long as you thought it was, add some more chains and that will give it more length. It'll drop your front a little bit. If you find it's too long, make less chains. Whatever this is, it's got to go around the back of your neck. All right, I hope that made sense. But for now, what I'm going to do is get you to make your chains. And what I want you to do is chain the amount of chains to suit your size. Extra small to medium, chain 45. Large to 2 extra large, chain 50. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you chain 55. All right, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so chain the amount of chains you need for your size. Meet me back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, when you have chained the amount of chains you need for your size, this can become slightly tricky, okay? Joining your chain nice and straight. Now, don't stress, even if it is a little bit crooked, no one's really going to notice it. However, if you want to be, do you hear that? No one's ever going to notice. If you want yours to be nice and straight, this is how we started with. Let's get a nice close-up. And just continue working along your fingers like so. Continue working along your fingers like so. All right. So you grab your hook and all you're doing is popping your hook as is into the stitch before your stitch marker. Grab your loop, keeping everything straight. Pull the loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Then slip stitch into your stitch marker stitch. Pull a loop through and pull it through to the loop on your hook. Remove your stitch marker. From here, what you're going to do is turn your work. All right, and now you are on the back of your work, but you've got a bit of a gap there, so just be wary of that. You should already see your back bumps, but if you don't want to pop them in your back bumps, just pop them in the first top loop you see. I'm going to skip that stitch that we've slip stitched into. It's a big gap there, but that's okay. Find the first back bump, pop my hook in, and single crochet into that back bump right there. And again, into your very next one without splitting it. There. And you can see where I'm going. Back bumps right there. Just one loop. But if you want to place them in the just top loop like that all the way across, you're not wrong doing that either. All right. But I'm going to do it into the back bump like so. Now, I don't want you to sit here and watch me do this one either. It's simple. Simple. You did the same with the strap. Single crochet into every stitch all the way across until you get to your very last stitch. Meet me there once you're done, and then we will finalize the very last strap. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end. Isn't this exciting? We're at the end of this last strap. Yeah, and I've got a last stitch right there. I actually do have one more right here before that knot. I don't know if you have it, but I have one more before the knot. I'll just see if I can do it. It's right there, just before the knot. There it is. So that's my final one right there. Yeah. So what we're going to do here, we're going to first pull that knot real tight. Yeah. So what we've got is our tail. Just leave it in front for a minute. I want you to, that's the stitch you're in, but I want you to pop your hook into the stitch with your stitch marker like so. Actually, before you do, my mistake, grab the tail and pass it at the back for a minute. Pop your hook in the stitch with your stitch marker and do a slip stitch like so. And once again, that has allowed your work to be sitting on top. Now, you can do this if you like. I wouldn't knot it here. I would just pull up that loop again, one more time. Extra small to medium, you should have 44 single crochets across. Large to 2 extra large, you should have 49 single crochets across. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you should have 54 single crochets across. Thread your needle, and that's where we pulled our loop up. Remember, we want to go back into the stitch we are in like so. And then turn our work and start weaving it in like we did with the other one. I'm not going to do that because I don't want to waste your time. I want to get right on to creating the pockets. Yes, so we're going to go ahead and do that now. Alrighty guys, we're going to start with a pocket. We're making the center base pocket first, as you see up there on the screen. So choose the color of your choice. I'm using the yellow, okay? So grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger once and twice, giving yourself a long enough tail for weaving in later. Holding it there, holding it down there, pass your back loop halfway over your finger, hold it there, pass the other loop all the way over, pop your hook in, and we are using our 4mm hook. We're going back to our 4mm hook for the pocket, yeah, and just tug everything nice and tightly. And we're going to make chains. We're going to make chains to suit our sizes. And here they are. Extra small to medium, chain 14. Large to 2 extra large, chain 16. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, chain 18. And off we go. Yarn over your hook, pull a loop through once, twice, 3 times, and 4, and we've chained 4. Chain the amounts to suit your size now, and I'm going to pop this on fast, and off we go. And 16, and I'm very far away. Sorry about that. All right, so what we're going to do now is do the same thing as we did for the apron. We're going to do the same for the pocket. A very simple thing. Now for me, however, I'm going to be placing my hook in the back bump of our work. It keeps the pocket edge nice and straight. Now if you still want to go into that loop, by all means you can go into your loops. But I'm going into the back bump. So I'm turning my work over, I'm finding our very first back bump, popping our hook in, and we're going to do a stacked single crochet or a standing double. So pop your hook in your back bump, pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops. Now pop your hook in the base of your stitch. You know how to do the stacked single crochet, we've done it all along. Pull a loop through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through both those loops, grab your stitch marker. Alrighty guys, just real quickly, one of our subscribers the other day asked me where I get my stitch markers from. I purchase mine from, they're actually called Clover, but I don't purchase them from Clover. I go off to a shop in the city called Morris & Sons, and they are a yarn crafting store. They have anything related to yarn and sewing and knitting, of course. And so I just wanted to show you the pack that I bought. But these actually come in different sizes. So this is the larger size. I love the larger ones, but you can purchase the next size down, and you've probably seen me using the smaller ones on the channel. So I just wanted to show you, you can actually purchase them, and it comes with its own little bag. So you use them and you can pop them back in the bag, but I end up losing them. As you do, they end up everywhere else. All right, sorry about that. I just wanted to show everyone where I get my stitch markers from. Morris & Sons is in the city here at Melbourne. I have left a link to their store in the description box down below if anybody's interested in purchasing them. In the meantime, grab your nice brand spanking new stitch markers, don't you love it, in your piece like so. All right. And again, we are crocheting along the stitches as we've been doing all along. Yarn over your hook. Now for those of you using the back bumps, it might look a little confusing. That's your first stitch that you're in, so you want to go into this stitch here. So you go right over here and do your double crochet. All right, so everyone do your double crochets into your back bumps or your top loops all the way across your piece. And I'm going to pop this on fast, and off we go. Alrighty guys, I am nearing the end of my row and I have one back bump right there. It's tight, but it is there. And it really is tight. There it is. Make sure you get into every stitch all the way across your piece. And I'm knotting up. Have a look. All right. Now count your stitches all the way across. And remember, we're counting these little V's that you see right here. Yeah. And we all should have our own sizes. Extra small to medium, you should have 13 double crochets across. Large to 2 extra large, you should have 15 double crochets across. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you should have 17 double crochets across. So make sure you've got the right stitches to suit your piece. And know this, guys, the very next row we do will be our repeat row. All right, so it is an increase row and you will be increasing in quite a few rows for the pockets. We'll talk about your rows for your size in a minute. In the meantime, we are turning our work like we've done with our apron, and this is the increase row. You pop your hook in and do your stacked single crochet like normal. You know how to do that because you guys are geniuses at it now. Yep. Pop your stitch marker in there. You know, nice brand spanking new stitch markers. Don't you love it? She's so naughty. All right, so we are now going to increase. And an increase means at the beginning and the end of our row, by the way, it means placing 2 stitches in the same space. There's your stacked single crochet stitch. Normally we would go right into the very next stitch and do a double crochet. In this case, because we're increasing, we're placing a double crochet in the same space as our stacked single crochet. Just one. And now it's 1 double crochet all the way across until we get to our last stitch. And off we go doing just that. All right, I'm going to pop this on fast and I will meet you at the end of the row. Alrighty guys, I'm on my second last stitch right there, and my last stitch will be this guy right here with our stitch marker, yeah? But in this case, because we are increasing, we're doing the same as we did at the beginning. We're placing 2 double crochets in the final stitch. So yarn over your hook, do your 1 double crochet in the stitch with your stitch marker, and your second double crochet. Remove that stitch marker. All right, so just quickly, let me show you what you have. Once again, like the apron, your sides will come out. They'll look like that. All right, they will come like that. Okay, but what I want everyone to do now is to continue doing this last row that we just did for the amount for your size. All right, and just quickly, extra small to medium, you need to make 5 more rows. 5 more rows exactly the same as this row. Large to 2 extra large, you need to make 7 more rows like this one. And 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you need to make 9 more rows. So altogether, you should have your 5, 7 and 9, but you should actually have your 7, 9 and 11, all right, altogether. But complete the rows that you see up on the screen there. Meet me back here once you're done and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, after you finish your rows, your pocket should so far look like this. The amount of stitches across you should have are extra small to medium, you should now have 25 double crochets. Large to 2 extra large, you should have 31. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you need 37 double crochets. All right, and now we're going to make 2 rows, and the first row will not be an increase row. We will just flip our work and do our stacked single crochet or standing double crochet in the first stitch, as we normally do. Now, with the increased stitches, we were placing a double crochet in the same stitch. We're not going to do that. We're just going to go straight into the very next stitch with a double crochet. Easy. Double into the next, and double into your next. You know what you're doing, and what I want you to do is double crochet into every stitch. Get to your second last stitch right there. Meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, I am just about to complete that second last stitch right there. And now instead of increasing in this row, all we're doing is placing one double crochet only in the stitch with your stitch marker. Remove your stitch marker, turn your work, do the same row again. So stacked single crochet like so, stitch marker in there like so, and double crochet into every stitch all the way across. I don't need to show you how to do this, so I would like for you to do just that. Double crochet into every stitch, get to your last stitch marker, and get ready to finalize pocket number 1. Go ahead and do that now, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of the row. I'm going to place my last double crochet in that stitch marker stitch, remove the stitch marker, and pull a loop through like so, just for a moment. What we're going to do now is we're going to cast off, but if you have a look at how much yarn I have here, I've already cut mine, but I'm not going to let you cut yours yet. What I want you to do is just grab your thread and go across there once, across there twice, and just have some spare for weaving in. I've actually gone 3 times to be fair, because we're going to use this thread eventually to attach our pockets to our apron. So we've pulled up a loop here. So all I want you to do is do your measurements like I just showed you, then grab your scissors, cut it, and pull it through like so. All right, and that's going to be your lower pocket, lower center pocket. It's actually the largest pocket on your apron. All right, so now what I want you to do, we're all going to start our smaller pocket. Grab your very next colour. Now, having a look at the apron, I'm grabbing this colour here. So have a look at the picture of the apron. It can be any one of your colours. It doesn't matter. So any one of your side pockets that you see, one on each side of that large pocket at the lower base of your apron, that's the colour you need to choose. All right. So any colour you like. It's very similar to our last pocket. It's just the measurements and the stitches that are different. So grab the tail end of your yarn, wrap it around your finger twice. You know this part. Pass your thread over. We did it before with the yellow. And I'm rushing it because this is the end of the apron, guys. I'm rushing. All right, so now we're all going to chain the amount of chains we need for our size. Extra small to medium, you need to chain 12. Large to 2 extra large, you need to chain 14. And 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you need to chain 16. And off we go. 1, I'm going to pop this on fast. 2. 16. So make sure you have the chain amount to suit your size. Gorgeous. Then you can either work in your top loops there, or you can turn your work and work into the back bumps once again with your stacked single crochet or standing double crochet stitch marker. Gorgeous. Right there. Very simple process. You know this. Double crochet into every stitch all the way across. I'm going to pop this on fast and off we go. Alrighty guys, I am at the end of the row. I have one final stitch. Now I struggled with this yarn, it kept splitting on me, but there you go, that's life. All right, so do you like that? That's life. So when you get to the end of the row, okay, you need to count the double crochets to suit your size like we did before. Now I've messed up with mine, so don't worry about mine, but make sure that you have the right amount of stitches for yours, and yours should be extra small to medium. You should have 11 double crochets. Large to 2 extra large, you should have 13 double crochets, and 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you guys should have 15 double crochets. Now I did mess up my count, but don't worry about that. I will fix mine off air. In the meantime, turn your work once you've counted your stitches. Remember that's these little V's here. Once you've counted your stitches, this is what I want you to do. Stacked single crochet into your first stitch like we did before. Pop your stitch marker in there like so. And this is your increase row. So you are popping an extra double crochet in the stitch with your stacked single crochet. Now you know how to do that, you've been doing it all along, and then it's double crochet into every stitch until you get to the end, and I'm going to pop this on fast and off we go. Alrighty guys, in my second last stitch right there, and now I have just the final double crochet here. Now I've split my stitch, so I'll take my stitch marker out, but I need everyone to place 2 double crochets into that stitch right there. 1, and the second one, 2. Gorgeous. All right, so now what you have simply is that. All right, you should now have extra small to medium 13 double crochets, large to 2 extra large 15 double crochets, and 3 extra large to 5 extra large 17 double crochets. All right, guess what you're going to do? You are going to do simply this. Extra small to medium, you guys should do another 3 rows exactly the same. Large to 2 extra large, you guys should do another 5 rows exactly the same. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you guys should do another 7 rows exactly the same. So go ahead and repeat this row for the amount of rows that you need for your size. Meet me back here once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, so here I am at the end of my rows. Okay, and we're going to pop our last increase in there of 2 double crochets, 1 and 2. And once again, the amount of stitches that you should have, extra small to medium, you guys should have 19 double crochets. Large to 2 extra large, you guys should have 25 double crochets. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you guys should have 31 double crochets. And off we go, finishing off. Okay, we're going to turn our work and do the same thing we did before, and that's just your normal stacked single crochet, like so. Stitch marker in, like that, and no more increasing. So ignore that stitch, go into your next stitch, doing your double crochets all the way across your piece, and there you go. So what I want you to do double crochets all the way across, get to the end of the row, meet me there once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, when you get to the end of this row, it's very simple. You know what you're doing. Just 1 double crochet only in the top of that stitch. Not 2, because we're no longer increasing, just 1. You need to flip your work and repeat this row 1 more time. And she's singing, guys. She's singing. Listen to that. All right, so double crochet into every stitch all the way across. I don't think I need to tell you what to do. do that. Meet me all the way here once you're done, and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, here we are at the end of this row. Very simple process, yeah? Remove your stitch marker. Once again, you should have the same amount of stitches, extra small to medium. You guys should have 19 double crochets. Large to 2 extra large, you guys should have 25 double crochets. 3 extra large to 5 extra large, you guys should have 31 double crochets. Alright, so now we have completed pocket number 2. So what you're going to do is pull up that loop and do exactly what I said before. Just grab your tail, and this one's not cut, so I'll be able to show you. Go through once, all the way around once, grab it and go around a second time, and then one more time just around there and give it a cut. It's probably too much, but it's better to have too much than not enough. And once it's cut, you just pull the loop through. If it doesn't, not like mine just did, we'll see once it goes through. Hopefully it goes through, and that's okay. Oh, it's all the hair that's in there. Don't you love it? I'm saving some hair for later. All right, so there you go. That is pocket number 2. Now let's talk quickly about the pockets so you know what we're doing. The large yellow one's going to be on the base, and your 2 little ones will be on the side like that. I've tangled everything up. Don't mind me, yeah? So what I want you to do, initially you've done your large one, so move that out the way, ignore it completely. You've done one small one. So all you need to do now, and this is all sizes, is make 2 more small pockets. All right? 2 small pockets, one if you want to keep it the same colour coordination as mine, one the same as your large one, but in a smaller size, and one another colour. Or if you just want to make them all the same colour, by all means, that's okay too. If you want to change any of your colours, you need 3 small colours and 1 large one. All right? Hope that made sense. You've done your large, you've done 1 small, you just need 2 more small pockets. All right, so before we do anything else, I want you to make your 2 small pockets. Meet me back here once you're done. Then we will place our pockets on our apron, all right? Go ahead and make those other 2 pockets, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, so you no longer need your crochet hook now that you've got all your pieces done. These are the 3 small pieces, and this is your large one. We're going to start with your large one, and you're going to attach your large one at the base. Now what you want to do is find the center of the base of your pocket. So whatever your stitch count is, just count into the middle, find the center, and you're going to grab a pin. There's a lot of pins here, and attach it to the center of your stitch marker piece. And then you're going to lay this nice and flat and pin all this down from here to here, there and there, not the top, because the top we're not going to sew that. Okay, make sure you have the right side of your work facing. How can you tell? Looking at your stitches, your top of the stitches is facing you. If it was the wrong side, when you look at it, you have to turn your work around to find the top of your stitches. So right side of your apron, right side of your work, find the center stitch, add your pins on top of each row. Don't pull it or leave it loose, just add your pins. All right, so yours will be a full stitch. Mine, I messed up my stitch count from the beginning. So I'm placing, and I'll show you a close-up so you can see it. Yours will be a stitch like that, right? But mine, because I've messed up right from the beginning, I'm placing the center there. Yours will not be messed up. But place your pin through your pocket and through your piece of work right on top of, oops, let's try it again. Right on top of the line, okay? Not on the actual stitch marker stitch. And I've done that. I've gone, there it is. I've got to go right there. On top of the line. And then just pin your piece across, keeping it flat. So each row is attached to each row. I hope that makes sense. Yeah. And again, you can pin it any way you like, as long as you can sew into it later, keeping it straight. Notice how I adjusted it just there, as it wasn't straight. Keep it straight. And then you do the same to the other side. All right, now pop this on fast and off we go. All right, so now yours should look something like that. Now this part is up to you. We're going to attach our thread, but what is up to you is what needle you use. Now I've got this little darning weaving needle thing. You can use whatever you like. Just know that sometimes a darning needle is better than a sewing needle because it's a little bit flatter and it's easier to go through your stitches. So you've got your big long piece of thread that you left. Yeah, we're going to move things out the way and we're going to start right where our thread comes out of. Okay, so over here, turn it over. Yep. Let's put this right up to here. There's our knot right there. Yeah. And our very first stitch will go into that knot. Okay, so I would go back into the stitch and then straight down into your piece. Now, if you don't want to go through your piece and you want to just pick up a little bit of threads, you can. I like it this way. It makes it stronger. I mean, you will see the yellow at the back, but it doesn't matter. No one sees that because it's on your waist anyway. Yeah. So pop your sewing needle through your piece, the whole piece, like so. Gorgeous. I may have to make this tail a little shorter because it's a very big piece of thread. It's a very big piece of thread. All right. So what you want to do is go back into the stitch, but I'm going to pull out this pin for now, just so I can show you. You can leave yours in for a second. And we are in that stitch there. I would go into the very next stitch just for a minute, and you can just split the stitch if you like. Don't split the yarn because that will be noticed. Just split the stitch like that. And I would actually go back into the first stitch, and all that will do, reinforce your pocket. Gorgeous. And now we're going back underneath, back into that very next stitch that we were in. Yeah, we're going back in there. That's just for the reinforcement of the top part of the pocket. The rest you can do pretty much on your own. Yeah, you go into that stitch, and if you want, touch your needle with your finger at the back and just pull it through to the very next stitch, making sure you are not splitting work and making sure that the needle has come through this end, that side. Otherwise, it's not attached to your pocket. If you want to do it the other way, where you just go through, go down and then go up and then go down, you can. I'm going to make it a little easier for me by doing it into the very next stitch and the very next stitch, which is why I've got that little flick sewing needle, yeah? All right, now before you continue, I forgot all about this little thread here. That's my mistake. I'm going to do that off air, but what I want you to do is to weave that thread into the inside of your pocket. My mistake, I do apologize. I forgot all about it. Just if you've already weaved it in, way to go you. If not, just take it all undone here, weave that end in like we've been weaving in our threads, and meet me back here in just a moment. All right, so once that thread has been weaved in, again, my apologies, you need to go to, and I'm going to move my pin a little bit away from the corner, you need to go into the stitch that you are in. Now see that corner, you want to make sure it adds up even with the seam line. I was almost about to wreck it then. So go into a stitch and then into any stitch just before the seam line, like so. You need to get the corner nice and settled in. And what I want you to do is go right into, and can you see the corner stitch there? Go into the corner stitch, pop your needle down. This will just help you to keep that corner nice and straight for now. Gorgeous. All right. So from here, you're going to just, we'll bring this down again like that. And you want to come back through, just through the very next stitch. We're in that corner there, we've gone through. You want to come back through the very next stitch and then turn to the side and start doing your weaving in through the side here. Alrighty guys, you might want to remove your stitch marker. You might want to remove your pin and just keep going all the way across your piece. And I'm not going to pop it on fast for a minute. I'm struggling with the stitches. I've made mine really tight, guys. Hopefully yours aren't as tight as mine, but anyway. Alright, I'm in my second last stitch there. I want to go straight into that corner stitch right there. But that's not enough for the corner stitch. I'm going to go into that kind of like a side corner stitch there. You may have seen me do that. I want to just do it again right there and just pop it down like we did before so we can see how far down we're going, which is gorgeous. Turn it to the side and then come back up into the very next stitch, which I've just split. Don't split the yarn. There we go. Oh, I'm splitting it and doing well. There it is. So go back into the very next stitch. We've turned to the side and now all I want you to do is continue up along there. Continue going in and out of your stitch the same way you did on this side. You're going to do it on this side. Get to the top right there. Meet me there once you're done and we'll talk about what we're going to do next. Alrighty guys, now I had a little trouble doing this side because you had to hold all of this over here and it was tricky, but I was there. Alright, so take out your pin and we are going to finalise this one pocket. Okay, we probably didn't need all this yarn. There's a lot of yarn left, but anyway, better to be safe than sorry, yeah? Alright, so I'm going to go into that second last stitch. It's kind of like a third last because we're going into that one and then the one after it and then there's a little tiny loop there, which we're going to go into in a minute. And I wanted to do this twice like we did on this side. So we're going to go down into the stitch. If I can get into it. It's stuck. Here we go. Down into the stitch. And down into the stitch on the opposite side. Yeah, making sure it's nice and even or as close to it as you can get. Did you hear that? Or as close to it as you can get. All right. There. And then you want to bring... And it's a bit difficult to see. I'm just going to bring it through for a minute. Hope it goes there. It didn't go there, so that's no good. You want to bring it back into a stitch just before it. There. Yep. And then go straight back into this stitch right here. There. So that way you've tightened it up and you've strengthened it as well. So have a look-see. Make sure your pocket is strong enough to pop in your hand or your Easter egg or whatever you want to put in there. All right. If that's the case, flip your work. I'm going to change my needle because this one's a bit difficult to weave in. And I'm going to cut the thread because it's really long. You don't have to. But I mean, I just look how long it is now and I've cut all this off it. So maybe I did over exaggerate on how much thread to keep attached, but it's better. Yeah. I'm a little bit hesitant about weaving the end through this side. So what I'm going to do is just go into the pocket, but not in there, just into the stitch inside the pocket. like that. Then go in here and place your thread on the inside. Let's have a close up so you can see. On the inside of your pocket for a minute and just pull it down. All right. And then just pull it down some threads inside your pocket. I really didn't want to leave it on the outside because through the thickness can make it come a little loose. On the inside of your pocket, you're actually going to weave it in through, here we go, in through some of the stitches here. And just go down. It's not going to hurt the pockets on the inside anyway, like so. Once you've gone down a little bit, guess what? You want to go back up. Not all the way up because you don't want the thread sticking out of your pocket. It shouldn't stick out if you've weaved it in properly. Just pull it through that way. Check the needle from the front. Gorgeous. Just pull it in. Pull it through that way, like so. Pull it through and cut your work. You can do a third time going down if you like. It's entirely up to you. Once you've done that, you just straighten it all up. Have a look-see, like so. And if you can do it, have a look-see. Hello, let's bring that out, like so. And your pocket number 1 is done. Now that did take a long time to do, and I know this video has been going a long time, but guess what? I'm going to show you how to attach your other pockets, and then you're going to do them yourself and then meet us back here for the final pocket up the top. All right, so let's talk about these 2 pieces here. Now, as you know, we did a yellow one for the top and then 2 blue ones for the sides here. So grab your blue ones, and I'm not going to do this with you. I'm just going to attach it to your piece, and then you guys are going to head off on your own and do this. Now what you want to do, see where that pocket is right there? Yeah, move 1 stitch over, and on the same line as this pocket, you're going to place it like so. No counting, just go 1 stitch over, place the pocket there, keep it along this line where your pocket ends. I'm just going to pop it in here for now, just so you can see where I'm at. I made a mess of the pins there, don't look. Oh, I just dropped them all. Can you believe it? Hope the cat doesn't come over. All right, so put your pins on. Now, the reason is you want to keep your pocket as close to the center as you can, but not on top of this pocket, yeah? Because this is our hip. If you bring the pocket all the way over here, your pocket's going to be sitting close to your hip. And you really don't want that. It's not going to look right on the apron. However, if you want to move your pocket over by 1 more, you can. If you want to make it the same on both sides, you know, 5 stitches here, 5 stitches there, or 4 here, 4 there, whatever it is, then you can do that too. I'm only doing it this way because it still looks neat. So, don't do that. Don't pin yourself. It still looks neat, so it's not overlapping this pocket, and it still gives you the option to have a little bit of space over here, and it's on top of your other pocket. If you want to bring it down, you can. If you want to put it higher, be wary that that's getting close to your strap and your hip. So I would keep it where it is, yeah? You can drop it 2 stitches, 2 rows if you want. Just make sure you don't clash with this and it doesn't sit on top of that. You know, move it over slightly and then drop it. So really, the lists are endless to where you want your pocket to go, but I would like them to be as close to the center as we can, but not on top of your yellow. Give yourself, you could probably even go 2 stitches over rather than 1, yeah? Not on top of the yellow. In fact, this one, I might move it over by 1 more. So if you look carefully, this one is like probably 2 stitches over. If you go over here, let's just go up a little, and it's, yeah, 1 and 2 stitches over. So maybe move it 2 stitches over and make sure it's on the same line, or you could drop it. Again, it's entirely up to you. Just make sure you don't overlap onto the yellow, all right? So go ahead and pin your pockets to your piece, sew them all up, remember, from that side all the way to that side, making sure you get into all the spaces so you don't have holes in your pockets. And meet me back here and we'll talk about the top pocket. Go ahead and do that now, and I'll meet you back here once you're done. Alrighty guys, once you have completed your, I'll get the straps out of the way, your base pieces, all I want you to do simply is the top. Now I've got my stitch marker the wrong side, so all I'm going to do is pull it out so you can see. Just so you can see where to place your piece, yeah? All right, so that's the top part where your neck edge is gorgeous. Grab your final colour. Now I use the yellow to match the yellow in the centre there. Now all you need to do is pop your piece. Oops, that's not where I want you to pop it. Excuse me, talk amongst yourselves. Here we go. Like we did before, find a centre stitch here and place it up against the stitch with your stitch marker right there. All right, so go and find your centre piece on your yellow right now. All right, so mine would be there. Yours would all have a double crochet. I messed up my count and didn't do it properly, so mine are in the centre. Don't worry about mine, focus on your centre stitch, yeah? And place it up against the stitch marker stitch. That one right there. So you're matching that with that, yeah? Remove that, grab a pin, and just for now, have a look first and bring it down under that centre stitch right there. That's your centre stitch. Just pop your pin through your stitch marker section. All right, well, that's a really bad job, but it's only because I've got my stitch marker in the way. I can't get through. So remove your stitch marker once you have your centre piece. Like I said, it was put in the wrong side, but anyway, don't mind mine, just moving right along. So remove your stitch marker and then you place your piece along the, I think mine's a little too high. It's got to go on the line right there. See that line right there? It has to go there. Now you can do it the way you like. If you find you want yours higher, do it higher. You want yours lower, do it lower. The idea of this was to just make sure you had the centre of your piece. And another way of finding out whether it's a centre, count your stitches across this way, add it there, count your stitches across this way, add it there. You may find that there's less on one side, more on the other, just move it over a bit. And then place all your pins. All right, so what I want you to do now is to go ahead, place all your pins, start sewing your piece. Remember, this is the right side of our work, okay? Everyone should have the right side of their work with their tail in their left hand. Left, the letter L, that's how I remember it, yeah? In your left hand, and that's the right side of your work, all right? So now that you know where to pin it down nice and neat, as centered as you can get it, sew it up. Get to the end right here, meet me here once you're done, and then we'll finalise our apron. Alrighty guys, don't forget to remove your base stitch markers. They've been there all along. Why am I sounding like I'm finishing up? Because guys, I am very exciting. Now before we go, just quickly to let you know, if after a few wears you find this coming a little too loose and you want to tighten it up a little, just make a little knot and bang, it's tightened up. All right, so this will happen after a few wears because it's, you know, it's stretchy, it's crochet, it's like anything. But if you find it's too loose already, you can already start to tie that up in a little knot like that, and it won't come undone unless you pull it undone. A very special thank you to the lovely Fluffy Kitten for her colour combination in today's tutorial. Now, as you know, it's taken me 4 parts to get it complete, but look at it. Is it not super divine? Yay. Again, thank you, Fluffy, for your colours this year for our Easter project. My name is Mary. This is Wow Crochet Designs, and have a happy Easter. Ciao for now.